You could call it the unofficial food of the pandemic, hot dogs. Even the most clueless cook can throw one together. And as Megan Alexander found out, they've been disappearing from store shelves at record pace. Hot dogs look innocent enough, right? Backyard cookouts, stadium snacks, quick weeknight meals, they're supposed to be easy comfort food. But behind that soft bun hides a sodium landmine packed with synthetic additives, cheap fillers, and mystery protein that never came close to a clean kitchen. For older adults, the danger is even sharper. 1 franc can send blood pressure through the ceiling and overwhelm your kidneys. Today we're ranking 8 hot dogs from grocery store shelves you need to stay away from, starting with the least dangerous and ending with the worst. Plus 2 safe picks at the end. Worst 1, Ballpark Prime Uncured Beef Franks. The dog that screams quality but delivers a salty punch instead. Ballpark loves tossing the word prime around like it's a steakhouse cut. 1 franc contains roughly 710 milligrams of sodium, nearly half your recommended daily intake in a single greasy tube. Bite into one and you're not tasting premium beef. You're chewing through a sponge soaked in salt water. The casing weeps grease onto your fingers, and the texture bounces back like foam padding. Doctors have long warned that a sudden sodium surge can spike blood pressure within minutes, putting demand on kidneys already running on reduced capacity. If you're taking heart medication, it's essentially washing your pills down with liquid salt. The FDA has consistently linked hot dogs and other processed meats to elevated risks of cardiovascular disease and colorectal cancer. Countries in Europe already enforce tighter restrictions on sodium levels. Over here, brands keep cranking it up because salt hides cheap ingredients. If you want a hot dog that won't push your heart into overdrive, reach for a lower sodium uncured beef frank instead. Hebra National makes versions that deliver real beef flavor without the chemical overload and salt assault. Worst 2, Bar S Classic Franks, the family staple that's affordable for a very specific reason. Bar S positions itself as the budget champion, big packages, low price tags, and a name that sounds like American cookout tradition. Parents toss them in the cart thinking they're getting a solid deal for the kids. But cheap meat isn't really meat. It's scraps and fillers dressed up in colorful plastic. Industry reports reveal these franks are packed with mechanically separated chicken and pork. The leftover paste blasted off carcasses using industrial pressure machines, then coated in artificial smoke flavoring to fool your senses. Crack open the package and you'll notice it immediately, a faint chemical odor that clings to the plastic like wet cardboard. The color is a perfectly uniform pink, not from real beef or pork, but from dyes and additives engineered to look edible. Take a bite and there's no snap, just a rubbery resistance that makes you wonder what's actually holding it all together. Seniors on restricted diets assume these are a safe choice. In practice, the sodium and additives can trigger digestive problems and elevate blood pressure. The FDA has designated processed meats like these as Group 1 carcinogens, the same category as cigarettes. If you want a hot dog that actually tastes like food, look at Applegate Naturals, grass-fed beef and straightforward seasoning. Worst 3, Daltony Original Chicken Hot Dogs, the so-called lighter option that weighs heavily on your health. Daltony markets chicken as the leaner alternative. But cut one open and the story shifts toward industrial byproduct. These contain mechanically separated chicken, the gray paste pressure blasted from bones, then molded into uniform tubes. Flavor enhancers and synthetic additives mask the bland taste. Less fat does not mean less risk. The texture reveals everything. No snap, just a gummy, rubbery chew that feels like gnawing on an eraser. Heat one up and a faint metallic steam rises, with an undertone that smells more like heated plastic than a meal. Seniors face particular risks. Every frank delivers a sodium load capable of pushing blood pressure into dangerous territory. Nutritionists flag these as a threat to bone density in older adults, raising the likelihood of fractures. Seek out organic chicken sausages made without fillers. Brands that use actual cuts of poultry will taste like real food. Worst 4, Empire Uncured Turkey Franks. Clean packaging, but the fine print tells a different story. The label leans on to carefully chosen words, uncured and turkey. Both are designed to sound safe, responsible, family-friendly. But pull the wrapper open and you'll find a watery turkey paste stiffened into shape. This isn't lean, wholesome protein. It's mechanically separated scraps pumped with sodium and pressed until it vaguely resembles food. Uncured doesn't mean safe. Take one out fresh and the texture is wrong from the first touch, damp, almost clammy, with a slick surface that feels closer to wet rubber. Drop it into boiling water and the smell isn't appetite-inducing. It's metallic steam with a sharp chemical edge. Bite in and instead of savory turkey, you get a mushy chew that leaves a salty burn at the back of your throat. For older adults, this isn't just a disappointment, it's a genuine health hazard. Each frank floods the body with sodium, capable of sending blood pressure soaring. Combined with heart medication, the effect is like pouring fuel on a fire. The FDA has issued warnings. Processed meats are tied to elevated cancer rates. Look for nitrate-free turkey sausages that use actual cuts of meat. Worst 5. Oscar Mayer Classic Wieners. The jingle told you they had a way, but that way is padded with fillers. For decades, Oscar Mayer has positioned itself as the quintessential American hot dog. The yellow package triggers nostalgia. Instead of straightforward beef or pork, these franks combine multiple meat types with mechanically separated poultry and stabilizers. Slice one open and the texture is disturbingly polished, smooth and uniform, like a pink pencil eraser. The World Health Organization has classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, alongside tobacco. Just one hot dog per day has been associated with a statistically higher risk of colorectal cancer. Seniors managing cardiovascular or kidney conditions are rolling the dice with every meal. If you want a frank that doesn't feel like a chemistry experiment, Hebra National's all-natural line is a real alternative. Worst 6. Vienna Beef Jumbo Beef Franks. Chicago tradition on the packaging, but plenty of unlisted extras inside. This brand trades on its reputation as the premium beef dog tied to Chicago's legendary hot dog culture. The name alone buys trust, but tradition masks a recipe heavy with preservatives, chemical additives, and one problem you notice instantly: a slimy, slick casing. That coating isn't just unpleasant, it's a red flag. Pull a frank from the pack and it feels like handling wet latex. Under imperfect storage conditions, it can become a breeding environment for bacteria. Cook one up and the skin seeps grease into the pan. This is accompanied by a chemical smell closer to a laboratory than a kitchen. Preservatives like sodium erythorbate and sodium nitrite extend shelf life, but these gradually burden your liver and kidneys. For seniors on daily medication, that combination creates compounding stress, blood pressure spikes, and reduced kidney efficiency. The FDA has flagged nitrite concentrations for years, and the WHO maintains hot dogs sit in the same cancer risk category as cigarettes. Europe enforces tighter nitrite limits. Here, brands continue loading them in. A better swap: Niman Ranch Franks, crafted with real cuts of meat. Worst 7. Jennie-O Turkey Franks. The brand selling turkey as guilt-free eating, delivering nothing but letdown. Shoppers reach for these thinking they've made the responsible call. But this is not wholesome turkey breast, it's mechanically separated meat scraps. The meat is blasted into paste, then shaped into uniform logs. Bite into one and there's no snap, just a gummy, spongy compression. Heat one on a skillet and the aroma carries a faint sourness with a chemical undertone. Flavor is essentially absent. Despite the lighter marketing, the sodium level is anything but light. Each frank packs a load that can drive blood pressure up quickly. Seniors managing heart conditions are the ones who pay the price. You're filling up on a salty sponge while muscles are starved for fuel. The FDA categorizes processed meats as foods with cancer associations, and turkey products are not exempt. Lean doesn't equal safe. Worst 8. Sugardale Hot Dogs. Proof that cheap can be genuinely dangerous. The pitch: a budget-friendly family frank. The reality: mechanically separated pork and chicken scraps, added sugar, and an assortment of fillers blended into something that barely qualifies as meat. The texture tells the whole story. Slice one open and the interior is soft, gummy, almost like stale dough. Heat it up and the exterior develops a frosted, freezer-burned crust that never fully cooks away. Then comes the smell: a stale, synthetic meat perfume that lingers in the air, combining salt and an artificial sweetness. Those are warning signs in a bun. The sweeteners attract children, but create a nightmare scenario for diabetics and seniors. One frank can exceed 500 milligrams of sodium. For someone managing blood pressure, that combination is like throwing accelerant onto a fire. The FDA has flagged processed meats for years, yet in the US, these products pass as family-friendly staples. In Europe, many of the additives inside would be refused outright. Even the protein is fraudulent, scraped mechanically from bones. It's filler wearing an artificial smoke costume. There is a real alternative: Trader Joe's organic grass-fed beef hot dogs. They use actual cuts of meat, no sugar games, no freezer burn crust. They taste like food because they are food. The safest picks. Safe Pick 1, Hebra National. One of the rare brands that actually delivers on its label. Hebra National operates under kosher certification standards, meaning stricter oversight, more accountable sourcing, and a significantly shorter ingredient list. No mystery fillers, no artificial dyes, just beef, water, salt, and spices. That's genuinely rare in the grocery aisle today. The contrast is obvious from the moment you open the package. No slimy casing, no chemical vapor drifting out. It smells like beef. Bite into one and it doesn't collapse into gummy mush. It snaps, it has flavor, and it leaves a clean aftertaste. Health-wise, Hebra National keeps sodium in a moderate range, approximately 480 to 500 milligrams per franc. For older adults managing blood pressure, that gap can be the difference between a reasonable snack and a dangerous spike. Hebra National demonstrates that you don't need chemical shortcuts. Fire up the grill without that nagging doubt. Safe Pick 2, Applegate Naturals. This is the best choice and one brand that actually earns your trust. Most hot dogs are assembled from scraps and chemical compounds. Applegate takes the opposite approach. 100% grass-fed beef, no fillers, no nitrates, no synthetic ingredients. Read the label and it's almost startlingly brief. Beef, water, sea salt, spices. That's the complete list. No proprietary lab blend. No pink slurry pressed into molds. This one actually belongs on your grill. The difference is immediately apparent. Open the package and there's no slimy film. Put one in a hot pan and you hear a genuine sizzle, not the wet hissing of water escaping from frozen paste. Bite in and the snap feels authentic, the way beef is supposed to behave. Reviewers describe it as smoky, clean, and honest. That's not copywriting. That's just actual meat. For seniors, it makes a measurable difference. Applegate Franks average around 480 milligrams of sodium, compared to the 700 plus you are absorbing with common brands. That reduction is meaningful for anyone monitoring blood pressure or balancing heart medications. Pair that with actual protein. You have a genuinely safer option for kidney health as well. Is it a perfect food? No, it's still a processed meat. But if you want a frank that won't leave you bloated, Applegate is the single best option on grocery store shelves today. Those were the 8 worst offenders and the 2 safest picks. What's the worst hot dog you've personally pulled from the store shelf? Tell us in the comments. Want to find out which frozen meals are basically chemistry experiments? Click on the left.